Well, I know we were waiting on it for a good long while, but we finally have PS5 news. So, PlayStation just announced the PS5 release date, price, all the games. Basically, they had an event that covered everything, all their launch games, a bunch of other games that are coming out past that, all the information you need to know. And then they had a bit of a debacle with the pre-orders and everything, and I just wanted to run through it. So let's get right into it. Start with the event. So the PS5 showcase, it's the second one they've done of these. They had one back in June, right around the E3 time, that I thought was a really good event. I thought some people were really, really over the top about how good it was. I thought it was fine, like a good solid 8.5, but I didn't think it was like a 10 out of 10 conference. I've seen better. And especially when you're coming out and saying like, this is our console, this is the next generation. They're really pushing, at least at the time, they were really pushing generational exclusivity, and we are doing hard generations. So I thought they had a little bit more ground to cover, and they said they would be doing another event at some point, and so here's that event. Months after we thought it would be, I thought they'd be announcing price by July. I honestly thought they'd announce the price at the first event, but alas, they did not. But here we are. Xbox just announced the price of the Series X and the Series S to be $499, $299. So I think that I think they already had this in the works. Like, obviously they didn't just come up with this in a week, but I think it kind of worked out that Xbox had all that stuff leaked because it looked like Xbox was going to be the same week. It looks like they were going to announce the same week, assuming nothing changed in terms of dates. So Sony kind of got, you could say it's a raw deal. Xbox got out ahead of it with the price, and I mean, we'll get to it, but Xbox had the lowest price like overall. You can argue about the console and the whatever, but $299 is cheaper than $399. But PS5 comes out now and says, "Hey, PS5 event." Oddly enough, they announced it on, what was it, on Saturday morning or something, just like on a weekend. They're just here, PS5 event this week, and it's like, what if this generational transition could get any weirder? But let's get into the conference itself. So they started off with a heavily rumored game. Like, I wouldn't say we knew it was going to be there, but we like kind of knew it was going to be there. That is Final Fantasy 16. It is exclusive to PS5, I believe, a timed exclusive. I don't think they so in this conference they had a bunch of those like PlayStation console exclusives also coming to PC, but they said the same thing for Deathloop, and we know that that's a timed exclusive. So I'm pretty sure the Final Fantasy 16 is a timed exclusive, and I'm pretty sure they've said that. Regardless, looks awesome, looks really different. Oddly enough, it's our first Final Fantasy in like 5 years, which it feels weird because I feel like we're always talking about it. Obviously 7 came out earlier this year, but like first new mainline Final Fantasy since 2015, I think, which is a good long while. And would you believe it, I've never played one. But actually that's not true. I've played like a third of Final Fantasy 7, the original, not the remake. But it's just a series that never really got to me, so I can't speak to it. So we'll move on. From this point forward, it was weird because with the Final Fantasy 16, they were like, this is on a PC emulating PS5. And then afterwards, they're like, everything else is on PS5. And you're like, what? Like, Square's being weird again. So next was Spider-Man Miles Morales. I thought this game looks fucking awesome. This game is beautiful. I love the first game. It's a gorgeous game. It's a huge game. It's the game they keep demoing the SSD with because of the load times, and the original is just awesome. And you assume that this one also going to be awesome. I think this is a hot take. I didn't love the demo, like the actual demo itself. And if I didn't know the history of the first one of the games, that I would be a little scared about this, because again, it was like more than half of it was QuickTime events. And sure, those QuickTime events were cool, but if I just wanted to watch a movie, I would watch a movie. And like there was some gameplay, some of the Arkham fighting that we know, but it wasn't like it wasn't like completely groundbreaking. I honestly thought it looked like Infamous, which is kind of weird, which is great. I love Infamous. Bring Infamous back. But don't bring Infamous back through Spider-Man. Just bring Infamous back. Whatever. So I thought it was weird. I didn't love the demo, like especially the back half of the demo. I thought was just completely QuickTime event heavy. But with that being said, the game looks beautiful. It's just phenomenal. It is the flagship exclusive this fall for the PS5, especially with Deathloop being out of the loop. So Demon Souls 2, but I'll say Spider-Man is the flagship exclusive. But it is kind of weird that that their flagship exclusive is Spider-Man effectively 1.5. Like, it's not Spider-Man 2. It's like you don't call The Lost Legacy Uncharted 5. It's just Uncharted 4 again and a little bit smaller. And I've been saying it. I don't like Miles Morales looks awesome. I think it looks really cool. I've said it 1,000 times already, but I think it is a little weird that they're not saying, "Hey, Insomniac, like, we need a game," you know, and not in like a full game, whatever. Moving on. This was honestly the biggest surprise for me was Hogwarts. We've heard about a rumored Harry Potter game, Harry Potter RPG made by Avalanche for like a couple of years, I want to say. Like, we've heard about it for a while, but I did not expect to see it here. This was the one where I was verbally like, "Ooh, I didn't expect to see that here." And it looks cool. It looks like a Harry Potter game. Not much to say about it. Thought it was really an interesting inclusion. It's not an exclusive or anything. It's not coming out soon. I think it was just Sony saying, "Hey, we have a marketing deal with Hogwarts, and here's a new game that you haven't seen," which is awesome. I love when third parties show up at these events. So cool reveal. Excited to see more of it. And that's all. That's that. Then was Call of Duty. Oddly enough, one of my above, it was above its potential demos of the show, because I was just I saw Call of Duty come up and I was like, oh, they're gonna do the thing again where they take 10 minutes of a campaign that all looks the same and we're just gonna show you shooting people and that's it. And they didn't do that for once. They actually made it look interesting and diverse. There was it starts with a sniper and then you go in and you're doing you take someone as a human shield and then you do the RCXD thing and you're doing that. I thought it looked really nice. It looks like Call of Duty, of course, but Call of Duty's good. That's something we don't say very often, but Call of Duty is generally good, and I'm excited for this iteration of it. Afterwards was Resident Evil Village. Again, it didn't seem like much of an update on it. It was more of just like a trailer that didn't really tell us anything. But again, this, of the games here, Resident Evil Village and Deathloop, which is up next, are probably my two most anticipated, because I loved RE7 and RE8 looks like RE7 again, maybe just a little more, and that I'm very cool with that. And then Deathloop, which came right after it. I've never seen so many trailers for a game where I really don't understand what you're doing with Deathloop, because they keep saying, oh, it's a loop and you're going to need to kill people. And I get it when you have the one character, because he keeps saying, I have 8 targets and I need to get rid of all of them. it seems like, oh, I'll just keep living this loop, kind of like Outer Wilds in a way. But then they bring in the second character and you're like, oh, I'm actually going to kill you. Like, how does that interact with each other? I don't know. Still looks cool, though. I'm really excited for it. Then DMC5 Special Edition. I did not like this announcement. Not that I don't like DMC5 or I'm not excited for it to be on PS5 or the next gen or anything, but just like, why? Like, why is that here? This could have been a blog post that it's, it's DMC5. I saw it. I saw Capcom and I was like, what is, and then I saw Nero and I was like, oh, DMC6? That's too early for that. And so I was just like, oh, we're just seeing a game that came out like a year and a half ago again. And I was like, I don't need that to be my system seller. I've already played it. So, it was kind of a weird conclusion. Whatever. Some people like it. It's fine. It's going to cost like $40 and it'll be out. But I'll play. I've played it. I don't need it anymore. Just, it's fine. Then was Oddworld. I gotta tell you, I'm not interested in this game. People like it. Lauren Lanning, cool guy, but it's like Inside if it were given a humor tinge to it, and that just does not sound appealing to me. I thought the little bit at the end where they were like all those like little goblins were doing their little quips. That was funny, but I'm not gonna play that game. I'll just say it right here. Then probably I'd say the most shocking of the announcements was Five Nights at Freddy's Security Breach. Like, you go in and you're like, they're showing this trailer and I'm like, is this like Prey or is this some new IP or something? And then you see the bear and you're like, Five Nights at Freddy's was done like, we were done with that like 7 years ago. I didn't know we needed that anymore. And they're just like, oh, it's Five Nights at Freddy's coming to PS5. I'm like, I don't. I honestly, I'm a little intrigued. I'll say it. I think, I'm not saying it's going to be good. I'm not saying I'm going to enjoy that game, but to have Five Nights at Freddy's coming back, I'm interested. After this was Demon Souls. I got to be honest, like, I like the Souls series, but I don't think that I think Demon Souls looks really cool. I like the Souls series. I'm happy they're bringing it back. It's kind of the lost child, the forgotten son of the Souls series. People don't even realize that it is part of the series, that Dark Souls wasn't the first game in that series. But again, maybe it's me. I think it's weird to have, and I'm not saying that this launch lineup is worse than Xbox's, because Xbox's launch lineup is effectively non-existent. But I think when you look at it compared to even last generation, and last generation's launch lineup wasn't great, but you look at it and the two big launch games are a remake of a game from 2007 and a a kind of half spin-off of Spider-Man, kind of Spider-Man 1.5. I think it's just me being a little more concerned about where the games are right now. The fact that we don't have Ratchet, we don't have Horizon, we don't have God of War, we don't have Spider-Man 2, actual Spider-Man 2 as a launch game. It feels, it's good to have those games in the launch window, probably, but it is a little weird to see the two big exclusive launch games on either side are Spider-Man 1.75, let's call it, and a remake of a game from 2007. Not saying it's not going to be good. Demon Souls was fine. I think it's the worst of the Souls games, to be honest. Maybe Dark Souls 2, but it's not better than Dark Souls or Dark Souls 3 or Bloodborne. And I hope Bluepoint can make it better. But I thought it just looked like another Dark Soul or another Souls game with like ray tracing, you know? Anyway, after that is Fortnite, you know that. After that was the PS Plus collection. This is the one where I was kind of like oohing and ahhing because I'm thinking this is Game Pass for PlayStation. Like this is the system seller. This is where PlayStation's going to, like, if they can match what Game Pass has, then they win, you know? Not that they're not going to win anyway, but like, you know what I mean? And they're saying, oh, you get The Last of Us, you get God of War, Bloodborne, Uncharted, all of these, and it's included in PlayStation Plus. I think that's awesome. I think like bar none, that's a great collection. That lineup of games is there are already games on there that are better than any game on Game Pass. Like just straight up. Like I don't think there's a game on Game Pass that's better than The Last of Us or even God of War, Uncharted 4, in some sense even Bloodborne. But I guess it was just like my hype level went way up when they were like, oh, it's the Plus collection and it's going to be Game Pass. And then it's not that. It's like it feels more akin to the EA Access Vault than Game Pass, which is like good in itself, and it's a really good path forward for PlayStation. I think it's a really good way to at least keep people involved in the first party games for the most part. And even if they're not adding games right away, like the fact that you think we'll have Spider-Man on there at some point, you think we'll have The Last of Us Part 2, you think we'll have Ghost, and then even moving forward, maybe Spider-Man Miles Morales will be on there in a couple of years, or Demon Souls, all those kinds of games that are going to be on there at some point. I think that's just a really cool proposition to say, like, oh, if you don't want to, or if you can't buy, or you don't want to buy whatever Demon Souls right now, just stay subscribed to PS Plus and you'll get it eventually. I think that's cool. And even though it's not Game Pass and they're acknowledging that, and I don't think that's a knock against it. I think it's still a really cool thing that they're doing. Then we get to the price, which is surprisingly anticlimactic. $3.99, $4.99. We all expected it. November 12th in the US and other areas. Same week as Xbox. I thought, honestly, I think that they did November 12th because that's a Thursday. I think they thought that Xbox might have released on Friday, and they're like, ooh, we're going to get out a day ahead of them. And then Xbox comes out on a Tuesday, for God's sake. Yeah, it's nothing special there. Lastly, God of War Ragnarok. I think, like, awesome that there's the new God of War game. It was not a surprise to me that was there or that game exists. I'm excited to see more. I wish it wasn't just a teaser, but anyway. So that's that. That's the event. Overall, I thought most of the games were really good. Like, I didn't really care about Oddworld or whatever Fortnite is Fortnite. But I think most of the games looked really good. I've said my thoughts about the launch lineup, but like I said, this launch lineup is better than Xbox's first party launch lineup. So it's not like they're losing the battle there. I just think compared to other generations, it's not as good. But regardless, this is what it is, and we still have Cyberpunk and Assassin's Creed and Watch Dogs and all those that make up for it on the third party side. So it's not like you don't have anything to play on the PS5. And to be honest, the rest of them, like, all the games look really good. And I'm really excited for Deathloop. I'm really excited for Hogwarts, Call of Duty, Resident Evil, just all of them. And then the idea that the PS Plus collection is coming. Even though I own most of those games, like, I never played Ratchet. I never played Days Gone. There are a couple other games on there that I never played, and I'm just like, oh, that's cool. Like, I'll be able to play it. But moving from that, the debacle afterwards was that this event happened, and like 2 hours later, pre-orders went live. Like, literally within a couple hours, they were just like, here's pre-orders. And I'm just like, what? what are you doing? That like first of all, they said they said they'd let us know. You know, they said, hey, we'll let you know. We'll give you time in advance to prepare for it. We'll let you know. Like, we assumed it was like, oh, we'll give you like a week's notice. You'll figure it out, you know, do your thing, get your money, whatever. Absolutely just false, just fake news. They even sent out the email. They had the email list where they were like, hey, if you want a pre-order, sign up to be on this list and you might get one. That didn't come out until after pre-orders were open. I guess some people still got them and still got to pre-order through that, but I just thought that was wild that those emails that said like, hey, you want to be the first to know, didn't come out until after they were available. Anyway, I signed up. I'm a little salty. Didn't get one. Kind of mad. Did not get that email. So, and then a couple days later, Sony comes out and says, oh, we're sorry. Pre-orders didn't go great. We'll have more later. This is just a blanket statement for any corporation. If you fuck up and then apologize for it and say you fucked up, you still fucked up. Like, you didn't, that doesn't take away from it. I'm seeing people being like, hey, oh, like Sony, oh, all is forgiven with Sony that this debacle happened because they said, oh, this didn't go well. Like, it absolutely didn't go well. That much is clear. We all know that. But like, just because they send out a tweet that says, hey, it didn't go well, we're sorry about that. Like, I'm not really gonna like give them any ground on that, because you could have just made it go better. Like, this is on you. Like, I appreciate the sentiment that they're saying like, oh, we'll get more out to you, but I'm not, I as a blanket statement for all corporations, like if they're saying like, hey, we fucked up, it's, yeah, that's what happened. Like, I don't think I'm just gonna let them slide because they say like, because they send out like a tweet that says, hey, you know. But even beside the pre-order thing, the pre-order like debacle of when it was happening, I'm a little more interested in looking at the distribution side of it and seeing how they're distributing digital and physical, because the way that at least my feeds and what I've been looking at, the way that all those have looked like is that most people are buying the physical disk drive version of the PS5. And this actually goes the same for Xbox. According to rumors, it looks like the Series X is going to be selling much higher than the Series S, at least according to estimates and distribution numbers, that they're going to be selling a lot more of the $500 versions than in PlayStation's case the $400, or in Xbox's case the $300 versions. For Xbox, I kind of get it, because the Series S is demonstrably less powerful than the Series X, so it makes sense that most people are buying the Series X because it's more powerful, even though it's more expensive. With PlayStation, it's less understandable. Like, I don't really get it. I think it's one of a couple things. I think they're basically distributing more physical consoles to retailers, maybe in the short term to appease them, because the digital console is basically just a big middle finger to GameStop and Best Buy and all these places that are like, hey, we sell your physical games, and PlayStation's like, oh, actually for less money you don't ever have to buy a physical game again. And GameStop's just like, but then GameStop just won't carry the PS5 digital. That speculation, of course, but I think that could be what's happening, is that GameStop is saying that they don't want to carry the digital because it hurts their business. That is one thing that could be happening. I think one of the other things that's happening could be that it could just be a market research that PlayStation might know that the hardcore gamer wants more physical games or something to that sort of the person who is buying and pre-ordering a system right now wants that physical console, or physical game, and they get that disc drive, so they're spending that $500. Whereas later on they might be selling more digital consoles. I think it's one of those two things. Maybe it's a balance between the two. I definitely think there is some retailer input on this, where GameStop is saying we just don't want to sell digital consoles at all. Plus, PlayStation gets more money from the physical console. I don't think a disc drive costs $100 to manufacture, so they are getting a little bit of marginal revenue from that. Even on the Xbox side, I think it might be even more so, where they're saying we get $200 extra to carry the more powerful console. Let's just send those. We'll appease the retailers for a bit. We will get the hardcore audience who wants to buy that Series X anyway over the Series S. And then over time, like with PlayStation and the Series S, they will both, like, over time, you'll get that Black Friday rush, or, the little overtime pieces where people who aren't the hardcore gamers who are buying these consoles at launch are saying, oh, this is a $300 console versus a $500, might as well buy the $300. And over time, that the Series S catches up and becomes the dominant part of it. Same with the digital. They're saying, oh, it's a $400 versus $500. I don't really see a difference. Might as well buy the $400. And then the digital catches up. And because what's going to happen is over time, the digital versions, the discless consoles, are going to become the norm. Like, I don't see that not happening. So, that's the PS5. We are approaching at a rapid pace. We thought we'd know all this information earlier. We thought pre-orders would start earlier. But alas, it is late September and they have just gone out. But anyway, I'm excited. It's a new generation. Sony's kind of gone back on the generational exclusivity thing. So if you have a PS4, like, you'll be able to play Demon's Souls and Spider-Man Miles Morales and all those. So it's like, that'll be fine. If you don't get a PS5, they are in really short supply. But if you do get one, that's hype. That's really cool. And I'm excited. And Series X pre-orders come out soon. So that will be a good time. So yeah, that's that. Anyway, my name is Matt Bianucci. This has been the Nucci Cast. Thank you for listening. I'll see you next time.